Hello, this is Sandra with Krafty Kreations with Sandra. It's our Wednesday weekly. We're gonna make a couple of treat boxes. This little treat box and this little treat box that opens like this. Aren't they cute? So what I wanted to show you is that I'm gonna be using this stamp set, but it's retired, so you can't get it anymore. But my point of telling you this is that you want to get an Easter stamp set that has little Easter figurines and sayings, and there is one in the mini catalog. There's something called Springtime Joy, and look, it's got a little lamb and a little bunny and a little chick, and it says, "Welcome spring. Easter is a lovely reminder of new beginnings. May the new life of spring bring you joy." And it's got an Easter basket with eggs and a butterfly. So anyway, you want to get something like this, and then you can use it over and over and over. So I didn't buy this one because I already had this one. But if you don't have any, this is a good one to have for Easter. You want to have one set for each holiday. And you want to buy something generic like this so that when you reuse it, you can just change the sayings, change the colors, change the paper, and then you can keep reusing the figures like this one. Okay, I wanted to point that out. And then we're going to be using these stitched shapes dies on the second little box, and I wanted to show them to you. Look, there are 12 dies, ovals, squares, and circles. So this is an awesome set to have. I just got it a couple months ago and I used it a lot already. Stitch shapes dies. Anyway, I wanted to let you know about those. And I had told you for the first box, which is this one, you need, hello, who's with me? Hello. For the first box, you need a piece of cardstock that is 10.5 by 7. 10.5 by 7, and we're gonna score it together, okay? I did give you the scoring dimensions, but I'm gonna do it with you anyway. We need to score at 1, and I'll just do 1 here. Hold my paper and then score at 1. And then this is the landscape side. 2, we're gonna score at 2. At 5. At 6. At 7. I'm sorry if you can't see, but my arm there, 7. And at 10. Okay, so your paper is 7 by 10.5 at 10. And then on the portrait side, we're going to turn it sideways. We're going to score at 1. Hi Gabby, hi Maria. We're going to score at 1, and we're going to score at 5. Okay, so now we have, let's see, we have 2 score lines, a big one, 2 score lines, a big one, and then a little one. So we are going to take our scissors. Where are my scissors? Here they are. And I'm going to cut. And then there's a small section up here and a larger section down here, all right? So I'm gonna start with the larger section down here and the tiny little piece on the right. I'm going to cut this tiny little piece off right here. I'm gonna snip that off, okay? Just cut it off. We're making a little bag in essence. Okay, now we're going to cut, listen, we're not going to cut on the first score line, we're going to cut on the second score line. Okay, up the score line on the second one. Then we're going to cut on the third one up to the score line. And we're going to skip one, and then we're going to cut on the 1, 2, 3, on the fourth one. We're going to leave one in between there, one score line left untouched. So we didn't cut on the first one, we cut on the second, we cut on the next one, we skipped one, and then we cut on the last one, right? Now we're going to wedge the two tabs, these two tabs just a little bit. Just take a little wedge off on both sides, but you only have to do it on these tabs. Can you see me there? You only have to do it on these two tabs. So I'm now going to do it on this tab right here. I'm skipping these two big ones. So I'm going to wedge off a tiny little piece. And then on the other side, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to wedge a little piece. It's hard to see when I'm trying to hold it in front of the camera here. Okay, there, two little wedges. So look, now I've got a little bit of space here, here, and here. Okay, now we're gonna turn it upside down. And we are going to cut, now we have the little space, the smaller score line over here. We're gonna cut off this piece right here from the second one over. I'm going to cut up on the second score line. Are you with me? Let me know if you have any questions. Then I'm going to cut across. And you can use any color paper. I'm just cutting on the score line. There, I'm cutting this piece off. All right? Then I'm cutting up on the next score line. And then I'm cutting the rest of this off. So I took two here, I left one long one, and I'm taking all of this piece off. All right? So I'm going to just cut across. I'm cutting across all the way to where I already snipped on that score line. So this piece is just gonna fall off. All right? There. So now here is my box, my bag, my treat bag or box, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now I'm going to fold on all the score lines. I'm going to fold. Actually, I'm going to fold on this one. I'm going to ignore this one. Ignore that one. I'm going to fold on this one. Ignore this one in the center. This one and this one. I ignored the first one and the fourth one, the one that's between these, in these tabs. I didn't fold on those, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take either glue or tear and tape. I'm gonna put it along this little tab, and I'm gonna close this over, and that'll create the beginning of my box. So I'm gonna use tear and tape. And I'm gonna use tear and tape because I'm running out of glue, but you can use glue, okay? And I'm just going to line it up closest to the fold. You don't need two strands, one will do. And look, it's really easy. You don't have to fit it like this. You don't have to do this. You just put it down, fold it over, and then this one will fold right into the place where it's supposed to be. So you're just gonna peel off the back here, or put glue, whichever one you're using. Then I'm just gonna press. And there's the beginning of my little treat holder, all right? Now before I continue, I'm gonna round these corners right here. I'm gonna round this corner, And I'm gonna push this over and I'm gonna round this corner. That's the top. I just pushed it over so it would fit in my corner rounder. And we do have a corner rounder in our catalog. It's called a Trio Tag Punch. I believe it's called a Trio Tag Punch. Let me show it to you. I don't own it because I already have one, but if you don't have one, rounding your corners is always really nice. It's this one right here, Detail Trio. It's on page 165. So you get three, you get a hole, a little flower, and then you get the corner rounder. A lot of people always ask me, where's the corner rounder? So there it is. Okay, now, I'm going to fold these in. I put it upside down. This is the top. I'm gonna fold these in, then I'm gonna glue these in place. Okay? So I'm gonna put glue. Let's see, I want this one first and this one to fold last. Alright? So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue, and I could also use tear and tape if I want to. I'm gonna put a little bit of glue here, and it's just gonna hold here. Then I'm gonna put glue on this tab, and I'm putting a lot of glue because you're gonna put candy in here or some weight in it, so you don't want it to fall apart on you. So there's my box, and what I can do is I can take either my bone folder or my scissors or something to press down so the glue will adhere. I have no idea where my bone folder is, so I could even take my glue and just press. All right? So now these score lines that we had ignored, now we're gonna gently fold them in, and that creates the shape of our box. Look at that. You see? Those score lines help it fold. Okay, but now before we go on, we're going to decorate it. And I guess you could have decorated it beforehand, but it's really easy, so there's no need to worry about that. We have two mats. They are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. Any paper that matches your cardstock. We're just going to, oh, I think I'm going to use the striped side. It has a little more contrast on my paper, that's why. You choose whatever matches your paper, your cardstock. Just gonna glue that here in the front, centered. Right, then I'm gonna do the back. And I'm going to center that on the back. All right, so there's my little box. Now, I did already punch out from the layering circles. I punched out, I die cut this one, this scallop circle, and it's about 2 3/4. 2 7/8 in diameter, and then from the stitch dies that I just showed you, I punched this one out. I die cut it, and this one is 2 1/2. If you have a 2 1/2 inch circle punch and a 2 inch circle punch, that would work too. All right, so then I took, hold on. I have to recycle my blocks because I was working on something else. So I took these little dots, and they are from the ice cream. Any little dots, any little background stamp. I took them from the sweet ice cream set. These right here. And I'm just gonna stamp a little bit of a background. I'm just going to take a little scrap of paper. I'm going to open my Daffodil Delight ink, and so that it won't be so strong. I want a softer color. I'm going to stamp off and then stamp on. I'm just filling the circle. If you don't want to stamp off, that's fine. You could use the color full strength. I just gave it a little bit of life. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and I'm going to glue it right here. Have a little bit of a border. It's a tiny little border. All right, so there's my focal point. And now I'm going to stamp my bunny. And I'm going to stamp my bunny. I already have it mounted with Memento black ink. I'm just going to stamp him right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp my little tip that I need for the next one, so it has time to dry. I should have stamped this first. Oops, I moved it. There, it's fine. All right, so there's my stamping. Let me give it a couple seconds to air dry here. Just giving it a minute. So I'm gonna use some stamping blends, and I don't think I've ever shown you these blends. Now, it's a really silly reason. Since I know you don't have them, I hadn't shown them to you, but if I don't show them to you, how would you know about them, right? So that's why I decided I'm gonna start using them so you would know about them and see how wonderful they are. They're really great for coloring. So I'm taking the dark pink pirouette, any pink. This is the only pink I have. It's a retired pink, but it's still pink. It's got a pen tip, like a fine point tip, and then it's got a brush tip. So it'll look, I'll show you. Oh, I could have shown you here. Look, it looks like I'm painting with the brush. And then over here on the other end, they're alcohol based. So then this is a fine tip. You see? They're alcohol based, so it'll dry really fast, but it will go through. So I'm going to color the little bunny, and I'm only going to color the bottom of his feet, the soles of his feet, right there. Can you see me? Yes, you can see me. Very easy. I'm just coloring the bottoms of his feet. I'm gonna color his nose, and I'm gonna color the inside of his ears. Look at how easy that is. So there we have a cute white bunny. And the pink gives him a lot of dimension. So now I have to fussy cut him. I don't know why I made him a him. But, so these are blends. And there's a blend for every single color. There's a light and there's a dark. Okay, so you get to watch me fussy cut. It won't take very long, but whatever you have. So even if you don't have, I'm gonna show you an option right now. Even if you don't have a little figurine, a little rabbit or chick to stamp. Let me finish this. So normally I don't stamp, normally I have it ready, but I wanted to show you the blends because they're really good for adding color to your projects. The way that I've built my collection is that for every order that I place, I add a blend. And they come in packs of 2, the light and the dark. I think they're $9. So I started with the yellow and then the red and then the blue, like that, those basic colors. And then I kept adding. So when we do the color club in May, in June, there will be 5 new colors. I do a club where you can get materials with all the new colors. There will be 5 new colors. I include, cut you off. People calling me at 2 o'clock on Wednesdays. All right, so I'm almost done. And just do it slowly, slowly, slowly. Don't rush. You know, when I have to cut a bunch of stuff, I stamp it all and I color it all. And then I take it to my room and I watch TV. And I cut as I watch TV. Because there's not a lot of thinking. You can still listen to the story in the movie or whatever you're watching. And you can always look up and down. It's kind of like I crochet. All right, so there we go. There is my little bunny. So this little bunny is going to go right here. And then I have a little, I have. Oh, my Easter wishes is over here. And I'm going to stamp it in black. I'm not going to stamp it in pink. This is Rococo Rose. I'm not going to stamp it in the same color because I think it's going to disappear. So I'm going to stamp it in black so it can show up. So it can show really well. So I'm just going to stamp it on a little scrap right here. And I'm going to show you another trick. Give it a minute to dry so that I don't smear it. Look. Then I'm going to take my everyday label punch, this one, and I'm going to punch it out. I'm going to center it here. I'm going to show you. I want to show you 2 ways. So I have to stamp it one more time so I can show you something else. Let me stamp it really quick. So look, I can take this one that I punched out, and you see how it's too long? I can squeeze it back in here, line it up again, and then I can punch it, and there I have the right size. I just stuck it back in, but I didn't stick it through here because then that would have cut it. I stuck it in through, I put it in through the center, so it only cut on one side. But the other thing I wanted to show you is that I can also just punch it out. Okay, here's another option. And rather than putting it back in the way I showed you, I can just snip the ends, and then I would have a straight, narrow sentiment that I can use. So I can use either one of those 2. You like it? So there's different ways to use your punches. It doesn't always have to be exactly the shape that they provide. It can be a variation. What I want to show you is that if you don't have the bunny or that kind of stamp, you can use your daisy punch. I know some of you have the daisy punch. So here's my daisy. I'm going to punch out 2. You know, we've done this before. And I'm going to punch out 2 in the white, 2 of the smaller ones in the white. Let me just find it. This is just to show you that there's always some way to make it work with what you have. If you have any other flower punch, you can also do this. Okay, so there's my 2 daisies. So if I didn't have my bunny, I could just do this. I could build my flower. Maybe I only should have done the smaller ones. I haven't tried this. I'm just making it up as I go here. That's really cute. Then here, this one's gonna go in the center. And this one's gonna go in the center of that one. Just covering the gaps. And I should have curled it beforehand, but I can put it here. Let me curl it. When the oldest my bone folder? Here it is. Hiding behind my Three Musketeers bar. I'm just curling it, you see? And then I can attempt to curl these the other way. I'm sure it can. I should have curled them before I stuck them together. Just do it gently. So there is my alternate decoration. I could put it here. I could put my little Easter wishes here, and they would go on my box, just like this. So it doesn't matter that I don't have a bunny. I could put a gemstone right here. You see that? Actually, I'm gonna finish this one instead of the bunny one, so you can see. I'm gonna take my hole punch, and I have a crocodile that will go through anything. But if you don't, you can use a regular hole punch. Punch your holes here, then bring it together and punch your holes. Mark your holes so you can punch them back here. You do it a step at a time because your hole puncher is not going to go through all this thickness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball it right here and then right across. I'm just making 2 holes. And then I'm going to put some candy in there. Of course, you can fill it if you want. Then I'm going to take some contraband because I don't have any other yellow. Some contraband ribbon. And I'm going to thread it front to back. And then from the back to the front. Then I'm going to tie a little bow. I'm just tying a bow. Uh-oh. Oops. I know tying bows is not the easiest when you're on camera. Let me do it this way. I don't think I ever tie bows standing up that way. I always do it laying on the work table. See if that works. Yep, that works. Tighten up my end, tighten up my loops. Pull on my ends to make it a little smaller. You can make it as big or as small as you want. And then don't leave the tails very small, very short, because when the recipient opens it, if they want to reclose it, you want to give them enough. You want to give them enough ribbon to be able to do that. And if this is curling up like that, just take the edge of your scissors, the edge of your bone folder, and then curl it back. You know how you do curling ribbon? No, it's sticking up. Let's see. Behave, behave. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. So here is my circle. I'm going to attach it with a couple of dimensionals. I'm just going to put one on top and one on the bottom here, like that. And then I'm going to put my flower with a dimensional. And I'm going to set it towards the left. Then I'm going to take a couple of little dimensionals of the minis. I'm going to put behind, I'm going to use this one, the one with the I'm going to move it more towards the center because I think the little arrow tip is going to be sticking out. So I'm going to do there without covering anything. Now I'm going to remove these and place my centerpiece right here. Then I'm going to take a big diamond, more contraband. We don't, Stampin' Up! Doesn't have such large. But this is whatever you have, remember. If I find deals, I get them. The only thing I never get that's not Stampin' Up! Is I never get cardstock. Because the quality of our cardstock and then the matching colors of our designer series paper, that's what I love. All right, there's my box. You see? Oh, I forgot the banner on the back, but it doesn't really need it. I forgot this little part. I could still stick it on if I find. It was just a 3/4 inch. And I'm gonna let you know here. This is 4 inches. You see how it's bent? Because I've kind of bumped it against other things and it just bent. So I'm going to make it a tiny bit shorter. Then I'm going to banner cut them. Now you would do this before you put the circle in your box, okay? I just forgot that step. And I always tell people it's never wrong, it's whatever you make. That's your creation. So don't fret that it doesn't look like mine. Nobody will see mine. Look, I can squeeze it in, I think. I'm not gonna be able to. They're too close together. Never, don't fear, don't fear. I can still have a solution. I'm gonna put glue. I'm just gonna cut the tips. You see, there's always a way to fix what you did or didn't do. I'm gonna put that there. And I should have put it upside down this way so it adheres to the circle and not the box. You see what I'm doing? I'm just sticking it in as if it were behind. I hope I didn't lose you. I hope I didn't confuse you. Look, I'm just sticking it in. Right there. Make it even with the other side. As even as you can. And there's my decoration that I forgot to put on. There's always a way. Isn't that a cutie? And look, I didn't have a bunny and I used a flower. It looks just as cute. So there, you can make little snacky boxes for your friends and family. Pretty cute. All right, so now we're gonna do box number 2. And for box number 2, you needed a piece of cardstock that measured, let me find my notes because I don't remember. Your cardstock measured 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. 8 1/4 by 5 3/4. And you were supposed to score it at 1, 3 5/8, 4 5/8, and 7 1/4 on the landscape side. 1, 3 5/8, 4 5/8, and 7 1/4. And if you don't know what 5/8 is, it's just 2 little lines more than the half. Then you turn it on the portrait side, and you score it at 1 and 4 3/4. 1 and 4 3/4. This certainly doesn't look like 1. That score line doesn't look like a 1, because it looks like it's 3/4. Yep, it was wrong. All right, ignore my other line. Have I ever shown you how to erase score lines? You just use your bone folder and you press, and they sort of go away. I'm erasing the one that was wrong. Doesn't totally go away, but kind of fades. There, it kind of fades. All right, ignore that I have a mistake. I'm not gonna do it over. All right, so 8 1/4, 5 3/4, scored at 1, 4 5/8, 3 5/8, 4 5/8, and 7 1/4. I'm going to cut up on these tabs from the bottom to the first score line on all of them. And this time I'm not cutting anything off, all right? Just cutting up to the score line, up to the score line. And then on this tab, and this tab, I'm going to wedge the edges, both edges. So I'm wedging this edge, I'm wedging this edge, and I'm wedging this edge right here, just the little tabs, not the bigger ones. Wedge this one, and wedge this one. Just helps with the alignment when you build your box. I'm gonna flip it upside down. I'm gonna do exactly the same thing. I'm going to go up to the score line, up to the score line, up to the score line, and up to the score line here. Then I'm going to cut the little wedges. Some people call it tapering, some people call it, what's that other word? I can't remember what the other word is, but there's several ways of describing this. And it's just cutting a little wedge as evenly as you can. I'm just cutting off a tiny bit. And it's a wedge because it's wider over here where I start, and then it's very narrow where I finish the score line. Okay, so there is my piece of cardstock. And now I'm going to fold on all the score lines. And I can use my bone folder. I'm just going to define all of my folds. Make them nice and crisp. And then I'm going to fold this way. I have to remember not to fold on that mistake over there. Here's my fold, and then my second one. So we're really just making like a pizza box. That's what I think of when I see boxes like this, because it opens like a pizza box. All right, now I'm going to fold my little tabs in like this, these little tabs, and I'm going to put glue on all of them, but I'm first going to do these two. Put glue all over, but very thin, so it doesn't ooze out. Then I'm going to fold it over, line up the edges, and I'm going to make the center of my box first. right? That's how I like to do it. You can do it in any order that you want. There's the center of my box. Okay, now I'm going to do these two. Can you see? I'm just going to put glue here. Hi, Mary. I'm going to put glue right here. Not a lot, but enough to hold it, because remember, it's also going to have weight. Lining up the edges. You just have to hold it for a little bit. Line up these edges and hold it for a little bit. So there's the bottom of my box. And then I'm going to do the last pair, the last two. So that one and this one. And you're not even going to see my mistake. My scoring line that I did wrong. Okay, so I'm going to hold this for a second. It really is just a few seconds. If you choose to, you could use tear and tape. Just put little pieces of tape on there. So here's my box. See why I call it a pizza box? It looks like a pizza box. All right, so now what I did is I took the 1-inch circle punch, or any punch that you have, and I punched out a little notch right here, just so it's easier to open. Okay, now, if you don't have these labels are from the Stitch So Sweetly, this set right here, and it has a set of scallop rectangles. This is the one I used, the largest one. You could just decorate your box like this, but I have them, so I'm going to put one here and one here, and I'm going to decorate this top one. So let's decorate this one. And for this, you needed a piece of Designer Series paper, and I'm going to put this towards the top here. Have an even border all the way around. It's supposed to mimic sky, but if you don't have anything that mimics sky, it can be any pattern paper. It could also be just one piece. It doesn't have to be two. I was just trying to make it look like a little scenery. So I'm going to, oops, that's not centered at all. See, having trouble seeing there. Then I have a 1-inch piece somewhere, and that's going to go down here, and this is supposed to mimic grass. So before we go on, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my Happy Easter. Here's another little trick. This Happy Easter used to be one stamp. It used to be together. I cut it apart. So now I can use the word separate. But if I ever want to use it together, I just have to put it back together, and then it will be one stamp again. You see? I made 2 stamps. You know, my grandma used to say a Spanish saying, más sabe el diablo por viejo que por diablo. You know, like with more experience, you learn lots of tricks. So there's one more trick. Right? So I'm going to do happy. Give me a second. I'm going to do happy. Right here. Then I'm going to do Easter. Right here. There's Happy Easter. Then I want to show you how to color the chick. Oops, I forgot to glue this part. this little grass piece. But like I told you, if you didn't have any paper, this is the ombre paper that came in the paper share. If you got the paper share, you would have this paper. There's always ways that I want to show you how to use your paper. So there's my base. Now let me show you how to color this. So here I have light Daffodil Delight and dark Daffodil Delight. Right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the marker pen, the fine point, and I'm just going to trace around the little chick. I'm not an artist. I don't know how to do shadowing. But if you use a little bit of light and dark, it creates shadow. So I'm just going over the line marks, I guess is what you call them, the edges. I'm just going to go around like this, and I'm going all the way around. And then I'm going to, this was the dark. And now I'm going to take the light and I'm going to fill in. I'm going to fill in and I'm going to go over the line of the dark one, and it starts to blend. Let me use the other tip so I can do it harder, so I can make it blend. It starts to mix. So here I'm just gonna not do the beak. Then I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna make it. You go over both colors, it does blend, and so you don't see the line anymore, or you don't see it as defined. It'll still be there, the color contrast will still be there. And you don't want to go too much over the black lines, because sometimes they smear. So there's my little chick. And then, because I don't have an orange blend yet, I have an orange marker. This is a different kind of, this is not alcohol based. I'm going to fill in, color the, this also has a tip, both kinds of tips. This tip is really big, so I hope I don't mess it up. Can you see what I'm doing? And then I'm going to do the little feet. So we have markers, we have blends, we have watercolor pencils, we have the blends, remember the one where you use the ink? Okay, there's the little chick. And then I would just cut it out, just like we did before. But I don't want to cut it out. I think I want to use the rabbit that I already have cut. All right, so I'm going to take my two labels. I'm going to put this one upside down. I'm going to put glue here, and I'm going to adhere it centered on this label. It just gives it a different look. If I just had decorated the top, I could have used it that way too. Just looks a little fancier this way. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little, I'm running out of glue. The story of my life. And the worst part is that this one only lasted me like 1 week, because I've been making a lot of cards. All right, and I'm gonna put more than I need because I want to be able to move it. I want to be able to slide it into place if I need to. So if you don't put enough, it won't slide. Okay, there. Okay, there it is. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to put the glue on the box. This time I don't need as much because I can see better from the top. And I'm going to line it up. Let's see, I can see so well. There you go. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals to put the little bunny on. Let me see, I will use a couple of minis on the ears. And on the feet. And then I will use a couple of big ones. Several big ones. There we go. So he won't be lopsided. And then I can just remove the backing. Then I'm going to put him right here. Then you can fill it up. It holds about, well, these little Reese's candies, it holds 6 of them. I found out. Well, it did yesterday. It's not holding them today. I don't know why. I guess I'll just put 5. But there we go. There's our little box. Do you like it? Now, let me tell you, you cannot open this box all the way back because this will be in the way. So you can only open it this far, all right? Otherwise, you'll be folding this. And like I said, if you don't have these labels, then you can just decorate the box. And look at the size. Isn't it the perfect size for a gift card? So you can make the box and decorate it however you want, and you can fit a gift box in, a gift card in there. Same thing goes with this one. A gift card fits in this one. So they are also gift card holders. Isn't that neat? So there are our projects for today. Which one is your favorite? And remember, I told you, you don't have to have those specific stamps. You can use any stamp. Let me know which is your favorite. Any questions? I know all of them are cute, huh? All right, well, I'll see you next week. Have a nice rest of the week. Bye-bye. If you had any questions, I'll answer them in a bit, okay? When I go read the comments, because I can't really see them right now. But I'll go back and check. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.
Bye.